Hey,
How are you?
is this thing working? Ah.
Yeah, it is working. I think Kyle's
All
just
right.
gonna adjust us down a little bit. We were just talking about like late '90s talk shows, like Ricky Lake and
Maury Povich.
but there was like another like female talk show host. She was blonde. She had sort of like like a totally yes.
Sally Chester.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, it was like such a ridiculous name too.
This was when
God.
I fell in love with the like party monster kids. I don't think that's what they were called, but the like Macaulay Culkin movie. That like group of like yeah, nailed it. Of kids that would like go out in New York and like dress however they wanted, and parents were aghast. They were just couldn't believe the audacity of these kids dyeing their hair colors and wearing so many barrettes, and and they did a lot of drugs, but which probably was also an issue for the parents. But anyways, as a young Chrissy, I was like star-eyed, like I idolized them. I wanted to like wear insane outfits and go party all night long too, but it wasn't really like a possibility in Picton.
No.
I'm just imagining you with Sally Jesse Raphael's hairdo.
No! I didn't want to be like her. I wanted to be like the New York club kids. That's what they were called.
Club kids.
I knew I would get there eventually.
Club kids.
Yeah. I was very into them.
I remember always turning on TV growing up, and like somehow, no matter who sat down last, it would always be Maury Povich or Jerry Springer on when I turned it on. No matter what channel, just like right away.
There's always this awkward time when I would get home from school where like the kind of daytime television programming was still running, so it was like still that talk show crap, and then like it would swap at like 4 o'clock or whatever to like kids programming.
Yeah, it's true. Oh man, hey!
How's it going? It's so festive over there.
I know. So we've been making like a Christmas special for YouTube, and this is like some of what is part of the special. Is like how-tos on how to make holiday crafts
Oh, wow,
from
look at that.
things like in my house. And then also a brief history on the origins of these decorations, because I went down a let's treat making crafts like an art school project. So that's been taking up an enormous amount of time. It took like actually 3 work days just to hang this insane arch paper.
I don't
arch.
doubt it. What is it? That's paper?
Paper,
What?
yeah.
Wow.
They're all little tiny wreaths. I guess
she
like
wanted to screen print them all first, and then we're like, no,
Of course.
we'll just use the regular printer, and then hit print and walk away.
that was a good move.
the line work that I did is like
Oh,
ridiculous.
Wow. That looks amazing. I thought they looked 3-dimensional from afar.
No, I was talking online with Lindsay yesterday, and she was like, "Are those toilet paper rolls?" I was like, "I mean, no, but thematically, yes." So there's 288 of them, which is the number of
Amazing.
days that we've been in pandemic quarantine time.
So are you printing another wreath every day to keep up?
No, I just printed all 288 at once, but then cut them all and hung them. Well, there's like a handful over there because literally I ran out of time, and we need to edit this together so that it can go out before Christmas.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so we're
Oh,
gonna
that's
be
amazing.
into full-blown crazy editing after
I'm already there,
this chat.
man. Just finished editing another love letter video this week, which will release today, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
But like,
Cool.
it's just been video editing like almost every day. That's what I do now, Josh. I'm a
That's
video
great. I mean,
editor.
those videos are beautiful.
Thanks. I'm
editing.
I'm working on one for you. It's actually very nerve-wracking, like writing to someone that I talk to consistently, because the ones that I've written, it's not like as often that I'm in touch with those particular artists. Like you, I'm in touch with like on a pretty regular basis, and so it actually makes it a little bit scarier somehow.
It's kind of crazy. Like I was just thinking about this today that this is going to be the first year in nine or 10 years that I haven't been up there around this time.
Yeah.
And the work that I was making as a resident in 2011 is like pre-grad school, like like anything I've ever thought about, you know, creatively. I was just like carving away, you know, like, oh, politics, evolution. I don't know what the hell I was doing. But I mean, the work that I made while I was there is so beyond like where my brain is now that it's a funny thing to think about. I don't know, relative to the way you've been like, working on these other videos. Like, oh, are you there?
Come
Oh, you're buffering.
back.
Oh no.
I never
Are we
know if
good?
it just cuts out for us or if it cuts out for everybody.
Are we good?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, we're okay.
All right.
You're stable again.
Excellent.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, long
your
time
work
ago.
has changed a lot, and I mean we've changed a lot. So
It's true.
time. Speaking of
2011.
change, so in case, just as a reintroduction, in April when we were full blown like lockdown, nobody going anywhere, blah blah blah, which I feel like is quickly approaching again for us in Ontario. We were having a chat with Josh over Zoom or Google Meets or whatever. And we were talking about ways to keep sort of the print love going, the vibes of Sparkbox, where it's like sharing of artwork and artists with Josh. And we came up with this idea of just doing a live chat and sharing work from our flat files. And so since this is going to be our last flat files of 2020, and we really like this, so we're going to keep doing something like this in 2021. I don't know exactly what format it's going to take or what it'll look like, but we're brainstorming some ideas on that. But we wanted to end our year with the person that it began with, so we're so happy to have you back again, Josh, chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
You've moved since we last chatted.
I
so
have.
That's exciting.
Lots of change. This is actually, I think, going to be the first, well, this is my first truly flat files situation because most of my artwork's packed up. So I literally like dug through the flat files that are here, you know, in this room. And fortunately, there's like all kinds of great work everywhere. I feel like that sounds like, oh, I've just pulled out of what was available. It's never possible to choose. So it's like, this was great. There was like parameters.
Yes.
I'm excited about the picks.
Sweet. I wanted to see if maybe we could have a little peek at the new space, or is that not cool? All right.
No, it's totally cool. Yeah, it's mostly like sorted out. There's like you know, touch up paint. There you'll see like little sprinkles of painter's tape throughout. It'll be great. Okay, I just finished up a big job last night, so it's a little, well, it's like organized chaos.
Yeah,
all right, let me see if I can do this.
I remember one time you came to our studio to take pictures for the blog Printeresting, and you were like, guys, the shop's too clean. Nobody's going to believe anybody does anything in here.
Yeah,
so,
this is like weirdly bare. You know, it's like, it looks clean. That's a pellet stove. That's the heating source here. All right, I'll take you on a walkthrough. So you enter the studio, and you're here. I guess I'll set it up by saying that. So Direct Angle Press is now located in northern New Hampshire, Bethlehem, New Hampshire, in the White Mountains. So we're about 2.5 hours from Montreal and 2 hours from Burlington. I don't know. It's kind of depending on which direction we go. We're in close proximity to things up north. And yeah, so this studio now is immediately behind this big old house we bought.
I know, it's so
somehow in some magical way of things coming together. And this is kind of setting up for when things get safe again to be able to kind of expand the residency offerings that we kind of started pre-pandemic.
Beautiful.
So this is out back. If kind of like you guys, you know, if residents stay in the house, there's this studio here on the property. So anyway, enough set up. So this is where you come in. This is the clean space. This will be more bindery equipment and stuff like that here. Work setup, storage, all that good stuff. Heat source,
Nice.
lots of pellets. And then this is the main studio.
Oh my
here.
gosh, gorgeous. What's the square footage? It seems humongous.
It's about 1,000 square feet, maybe a little bit less.
Wow.
So maybe the same size as our building.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
this is
so-
amazing. You've never had this much space.
No.
What are you going to do with it all?
I pulled
You're gonna
stuff out of
copy
storage. I've had stuff in storage in Philly since about 2009, so I pulled some of that out. So I'm finally able to have both of my proofing presses set up.
Love.
And then, so there's,
garage
this
doors,
is,
that was my dream, but it was just not going to happen. I wanted to have those expensive ones that are like all windows.
that's what I want. That's a dream.
Are very, very expensive.
I haven't looked it up yet. I'm just not looking it up,
Maybe
so I don't
do it. Yeah.
I want to paint these. They're really dirty. So that's kind of like that's way down the road when there's like just free time, which I'm still trying to figure out. But so letterpress side over here.
Yep.
Little panning action, and then Rezo side over here.
This is amazing.
Love.
And then I just picked up this old etching press last week.
Oh, look at it.
It's like a 22 by 44 inch bed. The bed's over here. It weighs like 1,000,000 pounds leaning up against the wall.
Yes, they are not light.
And this is actually made in Philly. So that was kind of what stole my heart.
Oh, it's so nice. Did you intentionally match the paint color in the room to the color
No,
of that
totally
press?
coincidental.
Oh.
This like the walls were this color before this press came up.
Oh.
Um,
That's awesome.
yeah. So anyway,
it's
so this is the
lovely.
space.
It's so good. I'm so happy for you. This is wonderful.
Thanks. Yeah,
I
it's super
can't wait
exciting.
to come and print in it.
I know. I can't wait for you guys to be able to come hang out. Oh, that was acceptable levels of tour, right?
Yeah, I think
That was
so.
great. Dude, this
Unless
is
there's
Cool.
somebody that wants elaborations on anything, just request it, and I'm sure Josh will oblige.
Yeah. So that I this is like totally nerdy, but I've been trying to like figure out more information about that press. Oh. Oh no.
You're back.
Hey.
You're stable again.
You said
Okay,
it's an
sorry about
area
that.
that you're trying to figure out more. Was the last thing I heard.
Oh. So this press that I picked up, this etching press, trying to figure out more about it because I've only seen a few of them like that before. And the guy that made it, George Howard, which is like late 1800s, I think, designed the perforator for stamps. like the perforating device, the dot perforator.
Pickled edge.
Yeah, like
Cool.
so like that was his like
You know when there's
creation.
things that you don't really consider being something that was designed by someone?
Yeah.
Like that it wasn't a thing that existed and then someone made something and then it existed. Perforation on stamps is definitely one of those things for me.
Well, I'm a little like suspect about it because the way I found out about this is because everything about that company is talking about like it kept going to these like stamp collector websites, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So it said somewhere that he won the award to design this for U.S. Mail back in whenever to create this thing. However, that makes me think like plenty of other places like needed stamps. Like this wasn't like a United States idea to have stamps. So like maybe I mean I don't know that I believe that the perforated stamp was an American. That doesn't sound like it is an American concept to me, which is kind of
I don't
silly.
know.
So who knows?
In learning about all of Christmas decorations, there was a lot that came up about this didn't exist until something happened in the U.S. And
Oh.
I also was like, am I just getting a skewed version of history
Yes,
because I'm living in
100%.
Canada?
Probably.
So, yes. I
But no,
swear.
the wrapping paper situation was an interesting little dip into history, and I do believe the wrapping paper that we have now is literally a consequence of something that happened in Kansas, which I explain in my video.
Interesting.
There was an article I came across that I haven't read it yet, but like the headline was Gutenberg didn't invent the printing press,
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
but it was apparently like a Japanese, like it has like longer lineage in like the Japanese or Chinese like lineage. So it was like, see, Western canon, we are definitely tainted by it.
Yeah. Right.
Oh man! All right, before we go down a dangerous path of showing
We
how
don't need
little
to.
history we know,
We're gonna-
let's talk about art we have.
Let's pick a country and describe its history.
Let's never do that.
No real education
Yeah.
in
This is such a bad choice.
Oh man.
So we have 3, but we also have 2 just kind of funny holiday things that I tossed in because,
they're fun, and it's almost Christmas time.
yeah. So thought I might as well put them in there as well. So do you want us to start, or would you like to start?
Why don't you guys start?
Maybe we'll start with the funny holiday things. So yesterday we got a package in the mail from Kyle's brother and sister-in-law, and included in it, Kyle's sister-in-law Sarah has started doing cross stitch, which I love, and I was so excited that the 2 little cross stitches came in the
dumpster
package.
fire.
So one is a dumpster fire that says 2020, and the other is a toilet paper roll that says
That's
2020.
amazing.
And we've been talking a lot in the past couple weeks about just giving handmade gifts for Christmas and how special they are and unique. And I think sometimes people get nervous that it's going to feel sort of lame or I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe it's just my own perception that people are weird about handmade gifts, but I absolutely love them. So this was just as soon as I saw the package in the mailbox, I was like, please be cross-stitched, please be cross-stitched, and then it was. So I was really stoked.
I love those little rings. I mean, I love everything about those cross-stitch pieces. I just think that ring is such a nice format, and especially for are they ornaments? I mean, it looks like ornaments, right?
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Wall pieces in our house.
Yeah, of course. An homage to this wonderful year.
I know. So that's first
great.
Little holiday funny thing. And then when I was going through the pile of these are arts that we still want to talk about, Kyle had pulled this guy out, which is by Ever-Loving Press, Vincent.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been on the show with us, and we've shown other things that have been done through his shop. But I think this one is actually his own design.
I assume that
it is.
Vince would have
it's
folded as a card, but we have yet to score and fold it.
Yeah, and so again, it has nothing to do with this year because I got this a long time ago, but I think it's kind of well suited. It says Christmas disaster or Xmas disaster number 12, and it's spilled eggnog. It's a letterpress print, and it's just so good because I kind of feel also this also works in the 2020 Boo-earnsness.
Yes, it does.
That's fantastic. I remember meeting him, I guess, when I was up there the first time around in Kingston.
Yep.
And I've been following along his work since, and that collection of work he's been putting out.
The Canadian.
Yeah. That stuff's beautiful.
Oh my god.
Beautiful
so
work.
Good. Yeah, really, really great. So
yeah.
So those are our first sort of. I mean, they're just they're not the main shares, but they were ones that I wanted to bring into the mix.
Those are excellent. Oh man, I have to figure out what order to show these in.
You could do an eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
I'm just gonna pick this one. Okay, y'all ready? Y'all ready for this? All right, so let's see. This is a letterpress print by Brad Vetter.
Oh, it's a letterpress?
Yeah, so I don't know what year this is from. I got this a little while ago. Doesn't have a date on it, but Brad runs an amazing letterpress and design studio in Louisville, Brad Vetter Design, and among many other amazing things he does in his work, he does a lot of laser cut, laser engraved acrylic or plexiglass plates. So this in here looks like three. I think this is three or four colors total, but that halftone in there is laser engraved.
That's so cool.
And
hold it even closer. I'm so curious.
Yeah, of course.
So these laser engraving plates to just.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
That's so nice.
And he's really kind of he's been doing this for quite a while now. I mean, he's been printing for a long, long time, making amazing work, and he's really mastered kind of the way that the laser engraved imagery, fits so seamlessly into everything else. And there's, a long tradition of the halftone in letterpress imagery anyway. But I just love how he's doing it.
This is solid.
Yeah.
Because I've used a lot of polymer plates and stuff, and you can do pretty good things. But man, That's sharp. That's like a really sharp printed plate.
Yeah, he gets great stuff. So I just realized it's backwards, right? So for those of you that need clarification, I believe this
It's
seems
more of a
fitting.
shout, but it's okay that you.
I believe.
There we go.
I'm sure that's how Brad envisioned it being.
Just yelling at people.
Announced.
But don't you think it's the person just shouting across the mountainscape?
Yeah, I think this is beautiful, like on so many levels, like as an art piece. I think there's something about it, as much as it's like a shouting message, I guess. I always see this print and it's very calming to me for some reason. And I've been waiting to have like a proper house to hang this for a long time. So this is like staying out, going in either in a frame or on a wall or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
so
like that one a lot. That's
yeah,
really
so
nice. Very,
Brad
very
Vetter.
nice print. Sweet.
Awesome guy also. Brad's just the greatest guy. So yeah,
That's a
beautiful
solid
work.
piece.
Solid first share. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Man,
Next
it makes
up.
me want to own a laser engraver. How much are those?
It makes me want to own a lot of things.
I think that
Love that one.
the thing about Brad's setup is I can't remember what it's called, but there is a like makerspace. I think that might be. I could be wrong about this. For some reason, I have GE, General Electric, in my head. They have like a makerspace in Louisville that there's some kind of exchange for local, makers that I think he gets free access to it, like in exchange for like maybe.
What?
I don't even know. It's some like amazing setup that is in Louisville where his shop is. So he's been able to like do this stuff in a really cool kind of, I think, community-oriented way,
I think
without
there are
having to invest in a
community
giant.
maker spaces in like Kingston and stuff, but I've never really looked into them.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
drive an hour. Like, I would love to have one of our own one day.
One day.
Yeah,
Keep
someday.
building the
It's the
dream.
dream.
CNC machine, laser engraver,
You know,
3D printer.
another shop, a tiny
Just
village.
Put it on the roof.
Keep
go
putting
up.
it up there. Yeah. Cover it with the tent.
Put a yurt out back.
You keep saying you're gonna build a yurt, and so far you haven't. So,
Me and John have to come up there,
No,
post-COVID. We're going to yurt it up in the backyard.
there we go. So this is our first official share, second share of the show. So this is an etching by maybe one of the first residents we had, or like at very, very beginning. Like definitely Steve was our first.
2010, so it probably would have been like maybe spring of 2010. So like maybe our within the first maybe 6 residents that we ever had.
And this is Manuela. I think that it's Jarry is how you say her last name, and she's an artist in Quebec. And she was doing a lot of these very elaborate, sort of like medium scale, but on the large side, oil paintings of these floral clusters. So they're sort of like these orb-shaped floral clusters. They were really dense, very detailed, but like so many painters that stay with us, as soon as you're around printmaking equipment and 2 people that are kind of loitering about all the time that know how to use it, she became very interested in having Kyle teach her some printmaking techniques. So she printed an etching and then also a lino block. So this is the etching. So this was the first etching she had done.
Nice.
And I really love this print, and we've held on to it the whole since 2010. It is weirdly one that we haven't framed, which I'm kind of surprised about. But it carries with it some of the. Oh, are you a little bit tangled?
I'll think it.
The qualities of the painted pieces, like the florals that are in it, but it's just really a lot more sparse and sporadic, and uses up the space in a completely different way, which I thought was interesting. She didn't do this kind of clustered image like she was doing with the paintings. But yeah, I love seeing someone explore their drawing motifs or painting motifs in a different format. So it's always fun to see artists play with print when they're here and it's not necessarily their primary medium.
That's a great print.
Sure.
Nice.
It's a good little print. I like it.
Awesome. All right. let's see here. So this is kind of a collection of 4, but I'm going to pull, I guess, one out. And then, okay. So this is one of a series of 4 risograph prints created by Jason Urban and Leslie Mutchler, who have their collaborative duo, and they go by the studio name JULM Studios.
Okay.
I don't know if it's pronounced JULM or Julm. I always call it Julm. But anyway, so they're longtime friends of mine now, and they actually came and helped me launch the little residency program that we have here back in August of 2019. So they came and made a series of these 4 prints, and these are kind of interesting because there's a photographic element on top, and then there are these color swatches at the bottom, and they were printed in kind of 2. Each section was printed in a separate kind of setup. So these were printed with digital files, and then these were actually printed with strips of mat board that were either black, gray, different gray values, so they could create these different overlay combinations. And you can also see kind of like these little halftone combinations down there. So they actually build up a template on the scanner bed of the Riso, and then kind of put together these different color combinations.
So how do you do that though? Like, how do you assign the colors to the gray mat board?
So basically,
too complicated a question to ask.
No, I mean,
I don't know.
It was essentially that they would have a setup of whatever the strips were. So they had white ones also, so that ones that they didn't want to print, they could block those strips out with white. And whatever colors they wanted on, say, the red drum or the red stencil, they would have present, and then they would switch it out for the blue and switch it out for the mint color. So it was 3 different. It's 3 colors here, and this was actually, if I remember correctly, if I'm wrong, I apologize, Jason and Leslie, but I think that they set these up to be RGB image separations, and then they just swapped out those RGB values for whatever colors they wanted. So these images are broken down as RGB images. So I'll just quickly, this one's mint red and like dark blue, Fedro blue.
Okay.
So it gives you this really interesting color palette. And then I'll just quickly show you these other ones just because they're really interesting. This one is fluorescent pink, melon, and I think wine. It's kind of like a purpley red color.
Yes.
And then there's this one that's, I think, fluorescent pink, yellow, and maybe like light teal or something. The results were these really interesting. Yeah. And they were kind of, they had these images, and then they were collaging stuff and really kind of improvising, like kind of semi-planned out. Of work that's very research-based and beautiful in concept and in kind of the aesthetic that comes out of it.
What are these book scans?
So these are, I don't know too much about it, but these are photographs of books with other books kind of stacked on top of them. I think this one's a book. This one's a book that has like I think the rock is a separate image. I don't think it's actually the rock, on the book. But they're photographs of books. And I don't know exactly what the kind of concept behind these was, but
I like them. So nice.
Really, really great stuff. So
love it.
Jason Urban and Leslie Mutchler.
Beautiful.
And they have all kinds of great installation work and collaborative prints, and they also have work that's kind of similar to that with those color strips. That is actually, they were doing a long-term residency at Dudene Paper in Brooklyn, and they actually embedded kind of paper pulp, different color samples into the paper itself. So there's some really interesting complementary work that's handmade paper. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, I love that. Those are great. I need a little piece of paper for the next. Oh.
Here you go. This guy?
Yeah.
Maybe I will use this to kind of get this back in space.
So this next little print is by a printmaker. I believe that Elizabeth is in Toronto, but I could be wrong about that. So this is Elizabeth Forrest. And I wrote a blog post about this piece on our website. So this is a traditional Japanese woodcut. Elizabeth lived in Japan for, I believe, 11 years. And she learned all about this technique while she was there. So I apologize if I get this pronunciation wrong, but I believe that it's mokuhana or hanga, which is a very, very old, we were talking about, maybe the printing press not being developed necessarily in the Americas. But, so this is a very old traditional printmaking process in Japan where you take a piece of cherry wood and you carve your image. So this was I don't know how many, maybe like 3-layer print. So she had 3 separate pieces of cherry, and they had these little notches carved into them, 4, which have a specific name. I just don't remember what the name of the notches are. And it's a water-based printing process, unlike woodcut in Western cultures, which is primarily oil-based, or was for predominant a number of years. So you actually mix the pigment with water and a little bit of rice paste so that it has some better adhesion. And you brush it onto the surface of your block, so it's very washy, so you can get these beautiful gradients and a much more painterly aesthetic. And then Elizabeth soaked her rice paper and kept it in a Ziploc bag so that the dampness was a very particular consistency. And then you put that over top of your block, and you take a little hand, it's like bamboo and little steel balls and wrapped with a banana leaf, I think.
Yeah.
What are those called? Burnisher?
Baron?
Thank you. It's a B word.
Kind of the bottom, it's a little bit like the bottom, a bob. The idea is that there's a whole bunch of small pieces that divot out and so you can apply lots of pressure. But hand printed each
Beautiful.
layer. It's very delicate. It was such a wonderful process to watch, and she was really open to discussing it and talking quite in depth about the process, which I also really loved. I believe that Elizabeth actually teaches this process, maybe not presently, but was teaching this process in Toronto.
Yeah, I think she was doing that in the studio.
Yeah. Anyways, I really like the gentle quality of this print. It's sort of simplicity and quiet, open field imagery, and the process of the printing I just loved and thought it would be nice to share it.
Yeah, amazing. It has this nice delicate quality to it.
Yeah, the nature of this printing method seems really just a lot more intuitive and playful than just rolling ink over top of the surface. You can play with color in a different way. Yeah, because it's just painterly.
You brush all the pigment on, right? And that's what makes a lot of those shifts and changes, and especially in all of Japanese woodcuts, it's all brushed on. They don't use rollers.
No.
They use brush.
Yeah.
It's us Westerners that use rollers.
So yeah, that's our
rollers.
Official share.
Nice. Good share. All right, let's see here. So this is my third share, right? My third share is this lino cut.
Oh.
Let's see if I can do this.
Wait, woodcut, you said?
This is a lino cut. I think I'm gonna have to put my headphones over it, so you might you can see most of it here.
Yeah, we can.
There you go.
You might have to read this to us though, because it is all backwards.
Yeah, so this is a lino cut by Kevin Bradley, who runs Church of Type, a letterpress shop, formerly of Yeehaw Industries, that used to be in Knoxville, Tennessee. I think Kevin's shop now is in maybe Asheville, North Carolina. I could be wrong. I think it's in North Carolina. It was out west in California for a little while. And I got this in Knoxville back in, 2011. I think. So this is a series of his work, Story Tree. And he also has letterpress prints that are like this too, like giant, beautiful handset letterpress compositions. Some of them are like floor to ceiling. But I don't exactly know the story behind how these came together. I believe someone once told me, and this could be wrong, that he would listen to like the TV or the news or like have TV on in the background and carve the words he was hearing as he could keep up with them, and they would come together in these, kind of these
that's
ongoing
wonderful.
things. I don't know exactly if that's spot on, but the concept, kind of works out. So do you want me to read it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, "Where did everybody go? I find Bozo the clown very disturbing. She's not sick, she's drunk. Then it's kissy, 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 and congratulations. That lunch just went right through me. I'm not scared of dying, I'm scared of looking bad on TV. Well, now that you're broke, what are you going to do? This could be the phone call that could change your life. Strange little hairy dwarfs were popular in the 1940s. Ben had a pig named Rover. I like your wig. The French fries are always greasy in these places. I cried during Flipper."
What was he watching?
I don't know, but it's totally fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
It's super fun.
That
Yeah.
is really fun.
So there were
I want to steal this idea.
he made a bunch of them. I don't know like if this is again like now almost 10 years ago, so I assume that they're available somewhere. This is on thick craft or chipboard, and I wanted one of these for so long, and I remember like going through kind of the collection of them, being like, all right, which one do I get? There were like different colors, and I couldn't wrap my head around any of the narrative involved. So
No.
I think I was like, oh, green, that will match the studio someday. That's
It's perfect. Oh, it's all coming together.
yeah.
Green
Anyway, I
walls,
totally love
green
this.
prints, green press.
Yeah, all
Exactly.
green all the
Kudos
time.
to him, like hand carving all that type.
Like, let's keep in mind that it would have been carved backwards too. Totally bananas. Like
The way we're
this is
seeing it on the screen
Yeah.
is what it would look like on the block.
yeah, this is outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
But fantastic. So yeah,
fantastic. Oh, that's great. I love that
yeah,
share.
beautiful stuff.
That's amazing.
All right. Our very last share is by an artist, Robert. I'm going to say Robert's last name probably wrong. Davidovitz?
Ooh,
I'm
cool.
sorry. I'm not good with last names. Robert is a painter, not a printmaker, but again, wanted to try some printmaking while he was staying with us. So these were some varied editions that he left after he was done the residency. What his work generally consists of is actually sort of playing with paint in a more sculptural way. So he pipes out lines of acrylic paint, and usually he's sort of stacking the acrylic in I believe it's like literally a piping bag, so that there's like these interesting but distinct color shifts, and he pipes them out onto baking sheets, and for a long time was weaving them together, so sort of making paint physical. And he would do these like complicated woven paintings. So that's what his work was when he was here. So he wanted to take that similar sort of playing with the concept of pattern and weaving, and also color shifts and variations, but making it with lino block. But now his paintings are more just the actual, like, just straight lines touching each other, piped out, and playing with the color shifts that happen when they're coming out of the piping bag, but also as the lines of paint sort of stick together on these sheets. They're really gorgeous. I'm probably not doing the best job explaining them, because I don't even think it's hard to even grasp the physicality of them looking at the pictures online, but they're very physical prints because they're like these thick, like lines of paint. Like imagine like icing, like a strip of icing out on a cake, but that is acrylic paint. And then for a long time they were like roped together in like a literal woven pattern.
Wow.
With different designs within the patterns and lots of interesting color combinations. So while this isn't like the best reflection of Robert's actual work, I love his work a lot. And we do have these prints, and I really like these prints a lot too. I think they're like very dynamic, beautiful. The gradients in this one is just so yummy. But yeah, I wanted to make sure we'd shared his stuff and talked about him.
Beautiful. They look like they have this kind of like physicality to them, you know, even looking at them from here.
Yeah, he was playing with pretty thick ink, which like gives you that like kind of watery, you know, when it like pulls off the paper in a strange way. And you know, for someone like Kyle or I, we might be like, the ink is making a weird texture. But for him, I think like that texture was bringing in that like, yeah, like the physical quality that he was getting with the paintings.
Yeah,
Or
super
sculptures.
cool.
I'm not sure how he describes them actually, because I guess I'm calling them paintings because they're made with paint, but they're more sculptural than they are, I don't know. What? I don't know how you would define them.
Mixed media. When in doubt, you call it mixed media.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Uh-huh.
That
I realized
top
that
one.
we shared two non-printmakers making prints. The top one?
The top one like is like popping forward at me, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's trippy.
It is trippy. They're also like a little misregistered, which I think is adding to the like.
Yeah. So
You
is
can
the white
see-
space intended to be there at all, or is that just based on misregistration? Because I think it actually enhances the composition.
I think it may have been not intended, but I think these were some of their first prints. So like they did a line of block, they transferred that to a Mylar, and then we transferred it to a second block, and they carved the second block. But I think like often when a lot of like first-time printmakers set out to carve vinyl, like I believe they would have drawn like all of the lines on the block, and then they carved the lines, not really thinking about the positive and negative space of it. So I think like kind of what happened was by virtue of like how you would tackle that problem is draw out the pattern and then carve along the lines that you made, not up to the line or on the other side of the line, right? So I don't think they were necessarily intended, but I think that
I like it.
Like, I think that they also didn't try to fight it, and so like let it just kind of be what it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
I really love these pieces. I also like the colors. They're just such a strange color combination. Like it's like kind of a pink on the bottom and then fading into like a gray and then into this like really light green color. Just love it.
They're impressive.
So that's our third share.
Very cool.
There's also if you notice like the block is aligned up at the top, like straight across.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the bottom,
Oh yeah.
a little bit out. So like a problem with lino cut is that like if you carve too deep, your block is like just a piece of rubber, and so it stretches just ever so slightly when you put it through the press with a lot of pressure. Yeah, I think that's
nice.
The last share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pulled out a bonus share. Am I allowed to
Yes,
do that?
please.
All right. This was going to be one of my shares, my first or second flat files. I think both times. I feel like, what did you say early on, that I was going to be like the Justin Timberlake to your Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah. I know, I was like, maybe Josh will be our first one come 2021 too.
Maybe I'll dress like Sally Jesse Raphael for that.
Oh my gosh, that would be the best. I've now committed that to you in my brain.
If we can find the outfit. I mean, I'm just imagining like, you know, one of those like late 80s, early 90s, like nylon, like
power suits.
Power suits.
Yeah.
It has padding in the shoulders.
Yeah, and a mock turtleneck. And it's
Oh,
in a
man.
pastel is
Yes.
what I'm picturing. But
I
don't
mean,
know
it
if
sounds like exactly the kind of thing that I would wear anyway, so I might as well, you know, pick it up.
Exactly.
So this is my last share.
Sweater dress, yeah. Oh.
Sweater.
What was that?
What's up, Todd? Ooh, Todd. I have to give Todd a call. Todd and I haven't chatted in too long.
Well, you're
Sweater dress.
chatting now.
Hi, Todd. I miss you, buddy.
We all miss you, Todd.
Todd made some cool hot dog T-shirts the other day. You should all go to his feed and check them out.
Make me a package of fun artworks and then ship them. Our address is on our website, and then tell me how much money I owe you.
Todd, can I get you involved in helping me recreate myself as Sally Jesse Raphael? I feel like he'd be perfect to be like part of that transformation.
I really agree fully with that decision.
Oh my god.
It's all coming together. The 2021 Flat Files is just forcing people to dress up as characters
From
and
90s.
chat with us.
Oh man, it's perfect. 2021. You know, if it wasn't already something that we couldn't wait to get here, now it's
Now, even more so.
bring it on.
Oh my god.
So, anyway, this pick is me missing Picton. Well, I guess the entirety of Prince Edward County.
Yeah.
But since I can't go there for real, I'm gonna hop into this print.
Love it. And find the hidden treasures.
Metaphorically.
all over.
God, this was one of my. I did this screen print. I can't remember how many years ago now. It wasn't.
It says 2017.
God, man, only 2017. I have none of them left. They're all gone.
It seems like a long time ago to me, like when I
Yeah.
got this from you guys.
It feels like a really long time ago, but really, it's only 2 years ago, pre-COVID.
Yeah, which is like
Well,
15 years.
2.5, yeah. 15.
This feels like a friggin' lifetime.
Yeah, something I really liked about this, I had like a lot of fun when I was a kid drawing maps and like pretending to try to play Dungeons and Dragons, but only ever like doing the planning part. And like part of like map making is like making that legend of like, here's what mountains look like, and here's what trees are. And so like with this print, I tried to like think about all of the weird like spots in the area, like the little towns, little landmarks and points of interest, so that like I would illustrate them into the scenery. And then I only did the 3 towns, and then I kind of got flack from the people who lived in Cherry Valley, who were annoyed that I didn't put Cherry Valley on the map.
How dare you?
Shame. It's okay. Prince Edward County makes a new map every year, so you know, you're due to make another one. Then you can put everybody in there. Milford, Cherry Valley, Wapoos, Cressy, all of it.
Yeah.
No
Man,
one will be
Wapoos.
forgotten.
Wapoos has that Slater place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going there with Tammy Ratcliffe.
Oh yeah.
And then also Wellington makes a great dark beer, except their brewery is in Guelph, which completely I don't understand.
I think that it just has nothing to do with Wellington.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. I think
Be the town called Wellington.
I think their logo is the boot, which makes more sense.
Yes.
But as an ignorant American, I'm like, Wellington, it must be, I had this beer in Prince Edward County. It must be that Wellington.
No, you're not alone, because I thought the same thing. So I was like, oh, Wellington, that makes sense. The beer's from Wellington.
Yeah.
No.
It's the boots, guys.
It was even more confusing because it was like a beer that was like on tap at the Acoustic Grill for a long time.
Yes, that's where
And I was
it.
like, you only put local beers on tap, right? And
No.
maybe no.
There's Guinness on tap.
There's
Very,
Guinness.
very much so not local.
I think at the time, I remember going to the Acoustic Grill, and that was the local beer. Like the other ones were mainstream beers.
Yeah.
And all this time, it was a lie.
Yeah.
Leanne's saying that there is a brewery in Wellington now called Midtown.
Oh, cool. That makes me feel better. Ooh.
With a great whatever ESB is.
Yeah, extra special
I don't
bitter.
drink at all, so
Yeah, you'd actually really like Midtown.
No idea.
in that quest when you were first here for collecting beer samplings from around.
Oh, yeah.
There's been now there's at least 4 different breweries that have opened up here since then.
probably.
It's amazing. I mean, like I feel like every time I'm up there, there's a new brewery. And oddly enough, I haven't been to any of them yet. Like the one down the street from your house has been there for what 3 or 4 years now, and I still haven't been. Which like you can like throw a rock at it.
You can walk
like
drunk from it.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. So, you know.
Well, next time we'll just go on a beer tour.
Yeah, like I want to. Next time, I'm only gonna go there and drink all the beer, and then y'all can roll me home.
Okay, in your Sally Jesse Raphael.
Yeah. That's got to be worth
gosh.
a free drink or something, right? Showing up at a brewery with the Sally Jesse Raphael.
I think 100%. So
Oh,
other
man.
than having people dress up, if you have any ideas for Flat Files 2021, you yourself, Josh, or anybody that is watching or watches this later, please send us any of those ideas, because we don't have a solid grasp on what exactly we want to do. We are really like almost out of prints to share. So unless people start mailing us art to share on Flat Files, which I would never object to, I don't know if we're going to be able to carry on like sharing physical artworks as part of it. But we were thinking like studio tours
this was episode 35.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like well over 100 prints that we've shared. Probably close to about 120 prints at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't think we have another 120 prints to share for 2021. But like we thought about like trying to like ask about like studio tours.
Yeah, we would love to just hear.
Like just making a talk show.
Yeah, we're totally like into any idea. We would love to hear people's concepts, because obviously like we love this. It's a little bit like a selfish way for us to hang out with people and still feel like we're kind of doing our job. But it's also, we want people to feel engaged and excited to watch as well. So if somebody is like, this is something I would love to see and we don't have the opportunity, we would be super into it.
Smallest studio quest? Oh my god. That's not a bad idea. Who prints in the smallest spaces?
That's a great idea.
I always wanted to like actually see a photo of John Irving printing at his place when he was living in New York. Because like the way that he described it would be like, I have to like take down all of my dishes, and then my kitchen sink becomes my like mop sink, and then my dining room table becomes like, it sounded friggin' ridiculous of what he had to go through.
Yeah, we won't be able to talk to Josh anymore if we do smallest studio quest. Also, Todd, we won't be able to talk to you. Your studio was giant when we saw it.
I think Todd's building out maybe I could be wrong, correct me, Todd, but are you building out a new screen shop in the basement of the house you guys just bought? Todd and Maggie just bought a sweet place in Southside Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And I think I'm not sure, but I think he mentioned that he might build a screen setup down there. What you just said gave me the idea that really I think that your Flat Files moving forward in 2021 should just be John Irving story time, where John just reads stuff to the public and just like talk about a way to just talking to John in general, is something that warms my heart like none other. But hearing him read something or like tell a story is like the greatest thing that anyone could experience, truly.
He's a good storyteller.
And if nothing else, we should at least have a reading of what he wrote for Power Washer number 3, which is how he used to go from his apartment with his screen to the Robert Blackburn studio to expose the screen, and then go back to his apartment on the subway with the screen, kind of like all this experience.
Maybe we'll do like Flat Files with Power Washer special, where we have people read their stories, narratives, essays from Power Washer, and we'll like do a back-to-back. So we'll just like close people out and bring them back on, bring new people on, and the 4 of us can work on who to invite and how we want to put that together, because that would be actually very fun.
There you go, Todd. What do you think?
Todd, we're really signing you up for a lot right now. So thanks for engaging in the chat, because I mean, partially you did this yourself.
Yeah.
Live artwork creation. Oh, that would be also very fun. We could do that too.
Yeah, something I thought about with like another series called Shop Talk, which is more I'm hoping to start producing in the early year, which is more focused on like actual like studio processes and like press maintenance and like technical aspects of like how do you actually make artwork, and like kind of following the journey of somebody printing some stuff. but that's hopefully gonna start maybe in January.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Sweet.
Todd
Okay.
says Power Washer Poetry Slam. That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right. All right. We got juices flowing. Things are happening.
Excellent.
I love it.
I'll dress up as Mary Povich. You're gonna be just like Raphael.
No, I'll be Ricky Lake.
You'll be Ricky Lake.
I have brown hair. I just need a lot more layers. No, they
Yeah,
gave
this-
me a black dress.
You can't go wrong.
No, this is obviously a flawless plan with zero problematic qualities.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I feel like we're gonna get kicked off here in a second.
Hey,
It was
so good to see you
great
guys.
seeing you again, and thank you for being our final Flat Files person. I don't know. There's not really an interview, so participant.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this thing. This is a lot of
You're
fun.
on our show.
Yeah, and thanks for helping us get it started. The juices just flow when we're chatting with you. As we're clearly all witnessing right now.
We should
the best
rewatch this
ideas.
video and just notate all of these things and keep a log.
I will. Don't worry.
All of the winning ideas and see which of them pan out. Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys. Well,
All
talk to you
right.
soon.
Happy
Wow.
holidays, man. Miss you
Happy
a lot.
holidays, everybody.
Happy
New
holidays.
Year.
Be safe out there, everybody.
And we'll see you in 2021.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So long.